Peter grew up one of the poorest of the poor. He scavenged for food. He scrambled to find a safe place to eat. Then a stranger in a market said something that rocked his world. He asked him his name.
Best-selling author Peter Mutabazi was only 10 years old when he ran away from home in rural Uganda to escape his abusive father. For 5 years, he lived on the streets of Kampala trying to survive until he met a man who offered him a chance to change his story. In his book, Now I Am Known, Peter shares his journey from hopelessness to finding faith and how he is helping to make a difference in the lives of other vulnerable children.
And Peter joins us now via Skype. Peter, thanks so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me here. Truly a joy to be with you.
I so enjoyed your book. Your story is amazing. You know, let's start from the beginning. 10 years old, you run away from home. Why?
Well, I thought my dad would take my life. So I thought, rather than give him a chance, let me give it to someone else. So running away wasn't that I was looking for a future. It was more of, I'm going to run away and I don't care what happens. If it's from a stranger, it's much better, than from my own dad. So that's the reason why I run away, really to just escape the abuse.
Yeah, and you spend the next few years in Kampala. What was that experience like for you so young?
That it was miserable in every shape form you could imagine, worse than it was at home, but at least they were strangers, so I got to know families who were, fellow street kids, and we created a bond. We survived together. I lived on not a day by day, but literally on an hour by an hour because of the abuse, but also the harsh condition of being a street kid. We weren't treated like human beings. We were treated more like, stray animals. We're the garbage boys that did not deserve to be anything. And that's how I was seen. That's what I was told, that I would never amount to anything, that I was garbage. And I believed it because that's what I looked like. That's what I smelled like. And so there was no hope for me but to truly dream, to just have a next hour in my life.
All right, so one day you're following a man in the market and you're planning to steal from him. He asked you your name. Why did that shock you so much?
Well, I had lived on the streets for more than 4 years, and no one had ever asked me what my name was. I was seen more of a the garbage boy, the no good for nothing, that did not deserve to be, called by his name. And so for me, that rattled me, that shook me, that, wait a minute, someone wants to know my name, because I think I thought I was less of a human being that wasn't deserving a name. So him wanting to know my name was more like, wait a minute, I'm a human? Wait a minute, you want to know me? Wait a minute. Why me? But also that really scared me. For everyone who was kind, usually they were abusive as well. So though he asked my name, that was a sign of run for your life. But at the same time, it was just good to hear someone say, what's your name? That I think brought the memories and reminded me of my mother. I think that's why it really kind of made me stop and chuckle a bit, that he wanted to know my name.
Yeah, and this special man helps you get into a Christian boarding school. I mean, you talk about culture shock, though. Explain that experience.
Oh, yes, the culture shock. Think about that. You've lived on the street. There are no rules. There are no boundaries. There are no morals. There's nothing. Absolutely. You're just on your own, To come from there and go to school, it was a shock in every shape, form you could imagine. I had never had a pair of shoes since I was born. And here I was at, 15 and a half, and I was given a pair of shoes. They were uncomfortable. I had never slept on a mattress, and I was given a mattress. I think for a few weeks, I slept on the floor because I didn't feel comfortable, sleeping on the bed. It was a bank bed. For me, it sounded like, this is danger. There's no way I can do this. People were kind, but for me, that really put me in a nervous state, because kindness, again, reminded me of danger or abuse. So for me, I didn't really connect or feel that I can belong there. For me, what kept me there was food. They provided lunch, breakfast, and dinner. And that's all I can remember. That for me, I remained in school because I wanted to have the meal. So the more days I waited for the next meal, the more I waited, I think the more I was like, wait a minute, I think I have to learn the culture of these people. I have to go to class in order to keep eating. And through that, I really is what changed my life. But yes, the culture shock was crazy. And it took about almost 6 months for me to kind of understand why I have to wear a uniform, why I have to be in class, why I have to follow the rules, why I have to wake up at a certain time. Those were, foreign to me. But along the way, I think because they provided food, that really gave me somehow like a little glimpse of why I had to do what they were asking me to do, because I didn't want to miss on the meal that I never had before.
Peter, you've worked with international ministries that advocate for children. So how did a trip to Rwanda help you forgive your father?
So during the genocide, yes, my foster family asked me if I can go rescue the children because I speak the language and my dad has a connection there. So for me, I think I was excited for the job, but I had no idea what I was about to encounter until I got there and I saw, the mass graves, the bodies, and I thought, there's no way I'm gonna make it back home, But also, I really struggled to understand humanity. Like, how could we do such a bad things and take lives of others? And I was like, what set do you have to be in to do so? And then that's when I realized, like, wait a minute, I have this bitterness towards my dad that I'm capable of doing the same. So as I was pointing a finger to them, I think I felt that it was coming to me as well. So I turned to the driver and I said, hey, I really want to go to heaven. I think we might be killed as well. He said, come on, you work for Compassion International. You go to church, you're a believer. I said, no, I look like one. I act like one, but I don't know him as my Lord and Savior. And I want to go to heaven and I want to forgive my dad. And I know it's the only way he can accept me. And that's how I came to know the Lord as my Lord and Savior, for what I saw, but also afraid that I was about to die and I wanted to go to heaven. And, it's really been a joy since then.
Oh, well, what prompted you to want to become a foster parent, Peter?
Well, again, this man, he gave me the best you could think of. He not only believed in me, but he took me at my lowest and put me in school. And I was able to go to school in Uganda. I was able to go to school in England. And that's how I came to the United States. So when I came to the United States, I think I really struggled, I struggled seeing how much food, people were throwing away. And I wondered, does God love us the same way? That others can have so much throw away and others can have so little that literally they will lose their lives for a lack of beans. And I struggle and I say, God, if you are there, please teach me. And I think for me, Luke 12:48 is what really helped me. Luke 12 says, to whom much is given, much is required. I was like, I have been given so much. I didn't have a home. I didn't have a family. I had no hope, but someone did that for me. And then I got to know about Foursquare. That's when I said, you know what? I'm going to use my story. I'm going to use my journey to change the life of someone who needs the same, because I understood their trauma. And two, I wanted to be a dad and thought, I should make a difference. I should pay it forward because someone did that for me. And it's truly been a joy for sure to have 27 kids. I've adopted one, in the process of adopting, a few more. And it's truly been a joy that I want to help more children, but also that I want to help most people have gone through trauma. I think sometimes it's hard to live a future, but if I can inspire them to use their past for good, I think that would mean, the world to me, because that's what someone did for me.
Well, Peter, your smile is infectious, by the way, and we so enjoyed having you in the program. And his book is phenomenal. It is called Now I Am Known, and you can get it anywhere. And he does have quite an Instagram following, and I encourage you to jump on board and follow him. Peter, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me here on behalf of the kids. We are grateful for truly making us seen, heard, and known for sure.
Oh, God bless you.